Hello guys, today we're going to be working on a 2014 Subaru Forester XT project car. As a lot of you know, these boxer engines come with these ugly engine covers nowadays. So I just want to get rid of it. I want to give it that WRX flavor by just simply replacing it with nice and clean belt cover. And we're going to be fabricating this belt cover out of 20 gauge steel. I've actually done this project before on my 2013 Subaru WRX STi, so it should be fairly straightforward. I mean, you can actually buy these metal covers aftermarket from many manufacturers like Parent and everything else. I just think that it's a little more interesting and more challenging fabricating it yourself. Plus, there's always that benefit of saving a couple of bucks here and there. So join me as we start this project. So we'll need a few simple things to do this project, one of which is a piece of cardboard. It would have worked better if we had like a paper, but I just couldn't find anything big enough. But cardboard works. Another thing that we need is a brake. You can fabricate your own, but I got this from Harbor Freight a while back. It didn't set me back too much, about maybe 40 bucks, I don't know, don't quote me on it. It wasn't expensive. You will need some kind of a saw. I prefer to use a saw that has a thinner blade. You get a little crisper cut, but whatever you got works as long as it cuts through metal. Now the first step we're gonna take is we're just going to take some measurements and essentially design our cover on this sheet of cardboard. So let's get started. So we have the design transferred onto the metal with all the measurements that we took, and it's ready to be cut. So now that the cutting is all done, we can move on to the bending part, and we marked the places where we're supposed to bend. We're going to use this cheap Harbor Freight brake. It's going to do the job just fine. So let's get to it. So we had a little screw up here. Unfortunately, this bend does not look too good. So I think it's just easier just to cut it and make a separate bracket. I think it would look better. So a little update. I had to make some changes in the original design. The original design called for this corner to be bent, to be used as the bracket for the other side, because one bolt goes to the top and there's another bolt on the side, and we need that side bracket. The problem I've encountered is I made a mistake. I bent it at an angle and it just didn't look good. Obviously I could have fixed it, I could have banged it out, but I noticed another problem. It wasn't structural enough. You would be able to move it. So I figured the proper thing to do would be to make a bracket, and that's what we did. We made this little bracket. This bracket would attach like this, and that would be nice and snug. Now before we attach that bracket, I want to dress up this little piece by putting some design, some holes into it, and I think it's going to make it look nice and snazzy. So let's do that now. So as you can see, we stylized the cover by adding these holes. Also makes it lighter. Also we added them to the bracket. So now it's time to test fit it on the car. But first thing we have to do is remove this factory engine cover bracket. It's held on by just a couple of screws. First thing, let's install the bracket. Don't worry about attaching it to the cover just yet. We're going to do that next. There's a couple of different ways that you can attach the bracket that we fabricated to our cover. You can bolt it by drilling a couple of holes here, and there you have it. You can rivet it, or you can use my method, which is spot welding. I figured spot welding will be a nice permanent solution, and that way we don't have extra nuts and bolts. We can just unbolt it from the bottom whenever we need. So let's do that now. So now the fabrication stage of the project is done. All we need to do is sand it, round off some of these sharp corners, and paint it. And here is the finished product. Now let's see how it looks on the car. If you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in another video.